Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this? It's the 5'7" assassin in the podcast business. I am your host, Rohan Patra, the rap music plug at your service.
Here we are again at the end of a rainbow.
The Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV is the remedy to the I don't have anything good to listen to problem. Through in-depth album and song reviews, as well as artist interviews and general rap commentary sprinkled in between on all of what the mainstream and underground rap scenes have to offer, this is your one-stop shop to knowing what to add to your queue, play next, or pop into your record player. Welcome to the show. The coming-of-age story from boy to man is something that has been told in some way, shape, or form many times in hip-hop. This similar story, however, from a woman's perspective, has not been explored nearly as much. On Little Simz' latest album, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, she does her absolute best to change that. Little Simz is a UK artist, Nigerian-born, who has really blown up over the past few years, mainly due to her last project, her third studio album, Gray Area, that was the first one I caught wind of and the first one many people caught wind of because it was plainly very impressive. I was astonished I hadn't heard of this artist before. Right off the bat, what was so clear about Little Simz was that she had a very strong handle on how to make an album that was multifaceted. With the help of her talented producer Inflo, she made true songs that sounded great, but were also packed with thoughtful subject matter. So entering into Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, otherwise known as Simbi, I remember my first couple listens were really odd for this album. Because weirdly enough, I feel like I just accepted that, oh yeah, it's going to have really thoughtful subject matter, it'll be really well produced, and there'll be a bunch of great songwriting. And didn't really take a second to step back and say, hey, Jesus Christ, this is really well composed. These are really meaningful tracks. She's really pouring her heart out into this album. I think I just needed to kind of take a minute to really realize what I was listening to. And once I kind of had that perspective and realized that I shouldn't just be taking all that for granted, I was really, really blown away. Little Simz' Gray Area was a thoughtful album for sure, but her perspective felt, as the title would suggest, not fully realized and fleshed out. Like she was still working some things out and more combustible as a result. Since certainly Gray Area was a more aggressive and frustrated album. Simbi, on the other hand, sounds like someone who has gone through those mental struggles and came out the other side, coming to understand and accept the totality of herself, flaws and all, therefore coming off more at peace, clear-headed, and wise. I basically see Simbi playing out like a coming-of-age story for Simz, seeing her embrace her womanhood, understanding who she is, her introversion, and being comfortable with it and feeling herself a bit more now. The album is very purposeful in how it's structured and logically progresses in a way that very thoughtfully articulates this coming-of-age arc, with the skits playing a big part in signaling the quote-unquote turning of a chapter. I just think the way Simz put this album together was brilliant. For example, Rolling Stone represented the part of the album where she started to feel herself flex a bit, get cocky, and embrace her strength, which was a high-energy, aggressive track, akin to something we would have heard on Gray Area like Boss, for example, seeing Simz rock the most mainstream, friendly flow on here, and she absolutely killed it. I loved the beat switch where she just had this really coy and slick flow that is just an earworm. It'll become instantly in your head as soon as you hear it. And then following that, we had the most significant musical change of pace here that honestly I liked, but Definitely not my full cup of tea, but I appreciated where it was placed on the album, though, and what it represented as it related to the narrative of this project. A track like Protect Your Energy was the spot on the album where Simz realized I'm in a good spot, so just don't kill my vibe. Overall, though, there is a beautiful femininity on this album where Simz effortlessly displays the strength and the vulnerability in a woman. Emphasis on the and. It's special to be able to provide this full 360 view because often I find that only one side of the coin is presented. Either the more aggressive, defiant strength of a woman is being presented in music, or the softer vulnerability is being presented, but by themselves is usually what we get, not both. So it's impressive to see her tackle this topic in such a fulsome way. The bold presentation and ambitious vision of the album makes it very obvious why Simz also noted that Kendrick Lamar is a big influence for her. Seen in the scene setting skits and the overall approach to creating an album experience that you can truly get lost in. It's so impressive to not only see her approach these weighty topics with such a detailed level of maturity, but being able to accurately portray this in the music so well on an album and on an entire project without any kind of lulls or unfocused moments, it's all really impressive. The thoughtful subject matter, though, is supported by an even more ambitious soundscape provided mainly by Sault producer Inflo. The album is the closest to Baroque rap that we've gotten since Kanye's Late Registration. Except in the presentation of this album, it's even more grand and ambitious in scope due to the different styles being explored, incorporating Simz' Nigerian roots. I think, unlike Late Registration, though, the orchestral elements veer into campy territory in moments that I don't always love. The rapper Came to Tea being the most unflattering example. I would have liked the production to tone down the glossiness at some points as well. It's a bit too sanitized of any roughness whatsoever that removes a bit of character from this album at times. But these are minor gripes because the production here is so beautifully mixed, organic, and huge in feel, with a really natural feel that doesn't sound forced at all. It's no surprise that Simz remarks in a recent NME interview that her chemistry with Inflo is unmatched because the beats and rhymes are in lockstep on this project. Seeing Simz and Inflo just work so perfectly together on this album. There is a musical richness and organic feeling to this album that is just brilliant. The subtle intricacies in the drum grooves and the delicate percussion on Misunderstood and Woman, and the silky smooth guitar that is a part of the gorgeously soulful I See You that is just so irresistible. These are the kinds of low-key grooves that could only be executed by an expert musician like Inflo. Beautiful progressions in these beats are everywhere too, not just in the more obvious beat switches like on a track like Standing Ovation, but in the less drastic but equally significant shifts in sounds like the breakdown at the end of Woman. It's passages like this that really separate this album from other well-produced albums. There's just a certain precision, there's a certain finesse to the way this album was created that's just so spectacular. Speaking of the rhymes now, just as Simz was on The Gray Area, she sounds remarkably comfortable, dropping effortlessly natural flow patterns all over this album. Except on Simbi, she does an even better job at conveying the nuance and detail in her thoughts and emotions on this album that really do it justice. I Love You, I Hate You is a really moving song about the complicated relationship she has with her father. I See You is one of the most heartwarming songs of the year, detailing feelings of pure bliss and gratitude. The lyrical ability that Simz has enables all of this thoughtfulness in the subject matter to actually penetrate the listener and actually make sense and actually resonate, because Simz is so skilled at putting her words together in a way that is entertaining with a very nimble flow, but also has a knack for storytelling and painting a really vivid picture. Just like on The Gray Area, Simz' songwriting on this album is once again just very, very good. The melodies on this album are all terrific, all of them, and work hand in hand with the production. On Woman, a track that is honestly like a female empowerment version of Jay-Z's Girls, 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 I feel. It has this really amazingly catchy hook from Cleo's Soul, and then her hook on I See You, a track I've mentioned already, is even better and stands as one of the best songs on this project. The background vocals on How Did You Get Here are insanely soulful. And same goes for Misunderstood. There are just a ton of details in how these songs are constructed that just astound me. They're just so well manicured and put together. And if you didn't know this, Little Simz is actually an actor as well. And it's apparent on this album because she really showcases this flair for theatrics, but also really has a good feel for making this album feel like a true motion picture with proper character development and really paying attention to the little details, which really wraps this album up and packages it in a way that really makes it feel immense and important and something that you just absolutely can't stop listening to. And definitely an album that really does not hit the same if you're not listening to it in full. So yeah, Little Simz, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, is a really great project. On all fronts, honestly, she improved from The Gray Area. The Gray Area was a project I did like, actually really like, but there was a bit of drags at some points in the track listing, and some songs just kind of fell a bit flat, I think, towards the end of that project. And she really just stepped it up on all fronts and got rid of some of those flaws and just further pushed her lyricism, her storytelling, and her album-making muscles here. And I just think the results are fantastic. So I give Little Simz, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, a mid-8 on 10. So this concludes today's episode of the Rap Music Plug podcast presented by QLC TV. I hope this episode gave you some fresh new perspectives on the latest rap releases, as well as a recommendation for the next great rap record to add to your collection. If you're an artist looking to level up your career, getting more gigs, album sales, merch sales, whatever it may be, I would love to help you with that by providing you artist development and writing services. So if you're interested, contact me via email at qlctv.podcast@gmail.com or hit me up via Twitter or Instagram at rapmusicplugpod. I would be honored to lend my expertise and help you grow your career as an artist. And also for regular rap fans that just want to hear more quality commentary on the genre, follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. For exclusive content and updates related to the show, follow the Rap Music Plug podcast on Facebook to help the show grow and ensure that everyone's listening to the best rap music at all times. Follow the show on the podcast platform of your choice. Make sure you leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts so that the show can be spotlighted by that wonderful algorithm and be exposed to more people. You can find all of this information along with exclusive playlists created by myself by clicking the link that's in the episode's notes. So that's all for today. Talk to you soon. Peace.